Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jamuna Tira Vanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kund Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kund Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Gaur Pimanandi, Dayam Vishupad Paramahamsa, Parivrat Gacharya Stotra Sapta, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Sirabai Charan Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandibiti, Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samavata Bhakti Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantharaj Srimad bhagavatam ki, Jai Nitai Gaura Pimarande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Taksurinmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, it becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing Canto number 1, Chapter 8, entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti. And today we are arriving at the famous, very well-known prayer, which is text number 25. Yes. Vipadaha santu taha shasvat tatra jagad guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shasvat tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shasvat tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shasvat tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shasvat tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syat apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shasvat tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam vipadaha calamities santu let there be taha all shasvat again and again tatra there tatra and there jagat guru O Lord of the universe bhavataha your darshanam meeting yet that which syat is apunaha not again bhavadarshanam seeing repetition of birth and death. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated birth and death. Kindly repeat after me. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we no longer see repeated births and deaths. Purport. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving in on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Translation again, I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. So this, in many ways, is an unusual prayer. Most people in the world and devotees in general also are in the mentality that kindly remove different obstacles or dangerous situations. Here the opposite is being expressed by Queen Kunti Devi. And she explains why also that it's natural when one is put in difficulty, especially one who is a devotee, he will more easily be inclined to remember or think about the Lord, which is, as nicely explained here in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, which is actually the mission of life for all living entities. Perfection of life is to actually constantly remember, and especially ante narayana smriti, at the end of one's life, to remember the Lord, to remember our actual eternal constitutional position as spirit souls, as eternal servants of the Lord, meant to be living in a world where there is absolutely no calamities, which is why the spiritual world is called Vaikunta, that place where there are no anxieties, no distress, and that can actually be experienced. One can actually begin to live in the spiritual world while being in the material world. And that is only possible, of course, if one is fortunate to come in contact with the knowledge and the process, which is especially highlighted and especially presented as the essence of Vedic knowledge and Vedic teachings, which is also referred in the Bhagavad Gita in different places. Vedai sasarvaya aham eva vedyo vedata krit veda eva chaham. That all the Vedic knowledge, which is actually very, very extensive original Vedic knowledge, as presented or given to humanity by Srila Vyasadeva, we have access to only a little bit of that knowledge now, less than 10%, according to Srila Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha, the beginning of his Sat Sandarbhas. He explains that that is also one of the reasons why the Srimad Bhagavatam is given so much of importance and takes on a very unique and special position for devotees and for humanity in general, because original Vedic knowledge, as presented or as given by Srila Vyasadeva, is just not available today, number one. And secondly, most people are not qualified, don't have don't know the Sanskrit, because it's written in Sanskrit, and a very very high level Sanskrit. So it is not available, not accessible. But fortunately, the essence of the Vedic knowledge, which is presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is accessible. Both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, the more we mold our lives around these teachings, the more we um, understand, the more we deepen uh, our understanding of what this knowledge is all about and how in our daily practical lives it is meant to be experienced and to be lived, then as Prabhupada would explain, these temples that we are opening, uh, they are like oases in a desert. Uh, they are actually directly the manifestation of the spiritual world. And for that matter, anyone who's engaged in devotional activities, if one is actually developing that purified and higher consciousness, which is where one is meant to gradually uh, come to, then even though living in the material world, one is actually not living in the material world. Prabhupada gives the example in the purport also about dream. In another purport, Prabhupada would explain about actually those who are devoid of this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, in particular devotional knowledge, they are constantly going from one dream to another, from the daydream to the night dream. Uh, so when we are in a dreaming condition, then whatever we are experiencing is not actual, is not factual. So therefore, our acharyas sing, Jeev Jago, wake up spirit soul, to the reality of actual life. And the reality of life is actually on the transcendental uh, level. And therefore, for one who's actually like Queen Kunti Devi, who's actually situated on that topmost level, she doesn't mind. Not only she doesn't mind, she welcomes. She welcomes such calamities for for the purpose of actually, we could say, as an impetus to further remember the Lord and to simply absorb herself in His pure, unalloyed devotional service. So, of course, we strive. We were touching on this point a little bit yesterday. We strive to establish the principles of Dharma. That is the mission of the Lord. That is meant to be our mission, our primary mission as devotees, both individually in terms of our own individual progress and advancement in spiritual life, and also in a larger context for general society. This is the instruction that Mahaprabhu has given, isn't it? When especially pointing out that those who are born, 1, 2, 3, in the land of Bharatvarsha, Bharat Bhumite Hoila Manusya Janamazar Janma Sartak Kodi Kora Para Upakar, work on making our individual personal lives perfect by striving in the initial stage, especially through sadhana, to advance, progress in spiritual life, and simultaneously perform what is called para upakar. And if one focuses on these two aspects, then one is less to the point of not disturbed by the various dualities that we are facing and meeting in the material world and the various calamities that are taking place. So, of course, the This class began yesterday. We are being invaded. This class began yesterday when our Bonitai Prabhu was mentioning that maybe you can rephrase it if I don't mention it properly, but it's difficult for us to understand why a devotee should be praying for calamities to happen. At least that's the gist. I think that's what you were mentioning a little bit yesterday. Why Queen Kunti is making this prayer.
False ego has no reason to pay for calamities.
The
false ego.
False ego. The false ego has no reason to pray for calamities.
Yeah. Because want to have a peaceful, enjoyable life. And the spirit soul is pleasure-seeking nature, have a pleasure-seeking nature. So only ask calamities if the Lord.
So indirectly you're saying that Kunti Devi is speaking out of false ego.
The Lord is happy to have these calamities, then we pray for it.
When the Lord
For the sake of the Lord's pleasure, we pray for having calamities if the Lord is happy with that. If you are happy to I'm in calamity, that's okay. Only the devotees have one reason, because the Lord maybe have some very special psychology to put us in calamity. That's my logical explanation. It's maybe not following any Shastra, but I try the best.
I think we can understand that devotees, I mean, in this particular case here, Queen Kuti Devi, it's not that she is just liking calamities for the sake of calamities, but that calamities for one who is liberated and one who is not liberated help us to remember that calamity or no calamity, Krishna is behind everything, and our only secure and best shelter is to take full shelter of Krishna, isn't it? Just like just like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur expresses in one of his many wonderful prayers, that the safest place in the material world is where there is chanting of the holy name, or where there is performance of bhakti or devotional service. So the Prabhupada also mentioned in the purport how Krishna himself certifies, clearly indicates how this material world is a place of calamities. You know, it's called Mrityuloka, a place of death. No one can escape birth, death, old age, and disease. So I would think that for devotee, his primary thought, primary concern is how to remain tightly fixed, tightly situated, tightly sheltered at the lotus feet of Krishna, isn't it? And calamities, in many ways, help that to happen. Just like even like in America when they were sending the astronauts to the moon, they didn't make any prayers before starting their project. But in the middle of the project, when there was some problem, and the lives of American citizens were in danger, then on the radio and television, they were requesting everyone should pray to God so that our American astronauts can return to Earth, safely. So the general tendency is to uh, offer prayers in difficult situations. um, it is also, as we were discussing the the other day as well, Krishna. One of the purposes why Krishna allows for his devotees to be put into great difficulties, I mean, extremely difficult situations, is to actually glorify his devotees, isn't it? That even though in such uh, an extremely difficult situation, my devotee will not waver. My devotee will remain fixed. Not only he remain fixed, but actually his surrender unto me will actually increase. Mm. This is what, in the context of the Pandavas, Srila Prabhupada was explaining how their their love and their um, surrender to Krishna simply increased as calamities happen again and again. Yes.
So Krishna takes pleasure putting us into the difficulties. Guru Maharaj.
Krishna takes pleasure in putting us into difficulties. Krishna takes pleasure in the living entities um, taking proper advantage of difficulties. Krishna is not that type of uh, individual or personality who likes to see people suffer. He takes pleasure in seeing devotees um, regaining their original consciousness and taking shelter of the process of devotional service. And he does that by allowing various difficulties or calamities to take place. It's like we generally don't like to see if somebody is in difficulty, we try to help them. The general tendency. Some calamity happens, people come together to help. It's a natural. So that natural tendency of uh, helping individuals actually comes from Krishna. So Krishna doesn't take pleasure in seeing people in difficulty, but he allows difficulties to take place, and generally difficulties or calamities are our own creation, isn't it? We go through so many problems in life, proportionate to our previous and present activities. Of course, Krishna may create situations also where it may not directly be based on our karma. But regardless of situations that are created, the end purpose, we could say, or the reason why the conditioned souls suffer in the material world is to finally come to their proper senses that naturally I don't like to suffer. So how to end this rather uncomfortable situation of of, uh, of suffering that is the beginning of being inquisitive. Atato Brahma Jigyasa, one who is intelligent will come to this point of questioning, trying to understand how to put an end to the suffering and the miseries, and that is by the cultivation of just like the example is given by our acharyas. The material world is compared to prison house. So in the prison is a temporary place, is not a permanent home, and prison is there are so many restrictions. Is not a happy place. So material world is of that nature, and we have things to learn. We have to understand, and for most people, it comes. I mean, for all of us, it generally takes like lifetime after lifetime of suffering. That okay, one particular lifetime, because we see, isn't it, when we engage in preaching activities, when we speak to people, I mean, how many people immediately begin to understand? Not so many. So it just takes a long time for the living entity to actually start coming to his proper senses as to why this suffering is there. One of the common questions that people ask is, why do bad things happen to good people, and why do good things? Why do bad things happen? Yeah, why do good things happen to bad people? People engage in all kinds of sinful activities, and they end up winning lotteries, or they end up getting all kinds of seemingly good things happening to them, although they're sinful. And then you have nice, humble, learned brahmana. All kinds of problems or difficulties come his way, but he's yeah. So there's a whole understanding which is given in the Shastra, and it's only when one is fortunate to receive this knowledge that he can begin to understand.
I understand that calamities help for a conditional soul to
But not for pure
change
devotees.
their
Okay.
like this. It helps change their direction. So I
Yes.
understand this calamities like we are doing for them to change their direction.
Right.
That's I understand, and I understand that pure souls sometimes have put in calamities to show their character.
Right.
So the two I understand.
Right.
I
Right.
accept. The only things which I cannot deal with because I try to remember, but I don't remember any other situation when a devotee prays for calamities happen again. So that's mentality. When Kunti Devi says that I pray again, I pray for they happen again because of. So that's very unique. I don't remember any other case in Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I hope I read a few times. I try to remember
Yeah.
no other example.
Yes.
So if there is no other example, we cannot compare and we cannot utilize it. So that's my point. The Bhagavatam is for us to utilize it in our daily life. So that's prayer. I suppose to repeat maybe daily, but I just that's the other thing. So it's so unique that I cannot convince myself, okay, you should do it,
Yes.
and then get the result, liberation or the mercy of God.
Who is that associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who was praying that let me take birth again? Huh? He was praying that I want to see all the living entities liberated in the material world, and therefore I'll take birth again and again, or something like that.
Vasudev Datta.
Vasudev Datta. Well, I mean, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself also prays to again, he doesn't mind to take birth. That's been expressed by our Vaishnavacharyas, also Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I don't mind taking birth again in the material world, as long as isn't it Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays in the house of a devotee, even as an ant or whatever, so that I can get some remnants of prasadam, so that I can get some opportunity to do devotional service in some form or other.
But it's not asking for repeated birth. It's accepted. If I have to take birth again, okay, I accept, but not asking for it.
Well,
and then Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, should I pray that I come back again and continue to study? No. You should pray for going back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada told.
Yeah, because most devotees have a hard time accepting to come back again.
Yeah, but Prabhupada told, no, you first
go
home, and then if you are sent back, that's okay.
So for the rank and file, we could say devotees, for the general devotees, the goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. But actually,
and they're praying for them.
Yeah, but actually that's not really the goal. No, I'm saying that the real goal is actually to be fully, completely absorbed in Krishna's seva, wherever that may be. Isn't it? In the spiritual world or in the material world, in hell. I mean, the pure devotee is ready to go to hell to preach Krishna consciousness. So it is a very unique prayer, and because I guess Queen Kunti is a very unique personality, she's expressing her feeling that way. But why she's expressing that feeling, it's explained here, isn't it? So that I can again and again remember you. I mean,
she's saying to see you.
Yes.
To meet with you, and then if we meet with you, that means we are liberated.
Yes.
But not all calamities makes Krishna appear.
Huh?
Not all the calamities makes Krishna appear. It's not like
all
a darshan method.
All the calamities make Krishna appear. Not that Krishna has to appear like this, but Krishna is not different from remembering him. When we remember Krishna, Krishna appears in that remembrance, isn't it? So this is what she's specifically mentioning here, because by through these calamities, then I will, isn't it? So that we could see you again and again. So, of course, in this particular case, it's like the word darshan. Here, Prabhupada translate darshan as meeting. But darshan, darshan is not only physically meeting, darshan is also understanding or realizing, right? So it means that actually a devotee sees the Lord and feels a great, what is it, feels protected simply by remembering the Lord and by engaging in His devotional service. He doesn't. It's like every day we don't have to physically have darshan of Krishna. I mean, of course, the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord is there, especially for uh, for the devotees in their we could say early stage, uh, because we cannot directly see the transcendental form of the Lord, but He appears through His Arsa Vigraha form. So I think, yeah, we need to keep in these two connected in terms of the purpose that Queen Kunti is expressing here, the purpose for allowing these calamities to come is for the purpose of remembering you. Remembering Krishna is also seeing Krishna, isn't it? Yeah. And Prabhupada mentions, I think here also, we can do all of these things. We can become connected with Krishna. We can actually perfect our lives. We can attain liberation from the miseries of the material world, from the modes of material nature, from the threefold miseries of life, by any single one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Visusmaranam, up until Atmanivedanam. All of these processes, either a combination of them or even just at least one of them, has that potency of situating us, Hare Krishna, completely above the calamities that are there, that are built in this material world. So therefore, taking shelter, especially for us, and that's like a foundational principle in Krishna consciousness established by our founder Acharya, taking shelter of the holy name, congregational chanting, isn't it? Which is the the basis of ultimately all of our activities, which is the yuga dharma for this age of Kali. Any further?
So, I heard that in a science of prayers, there are 3 types of prayers, which have 3 different type of mood. So I don't remember the Sanskrit terminology, but there are some.
Okay.
But one is that someone expressing their humble mood and fallen situation, and they pray some shelter. Another is prayers for to getting the ultimate goal, expressing their desire, what they want from the Lord. And the third one I don't remember exactly. So but these are mentioned that different type of devotees should focus on different type of prayers for helping themselves to advancing, and not using a prayer which is not really uh, matching to their level of advancement. So in this case, I think that's kind of prayer we can use when we recognize that we don't mind the calamities because we have some material solutions, and then we have to pray for more calamities to understand that no material solution will take them out, only Krishna's appearance, Krishna's guidance. So as a conditioned soul, as a beginners, I think in that case is it's good to remember Kunti Devi's example.
Yes.
If I have a tendency, just try to solve scientifically some problem like no water or like that, in the nature some big problems are, and I think okay, I will figure out get water from the cloud by some chemicals, and then you should pray for more difficulties in the nature because we don't understand. We have to re-establish the Dharma first, and then we can accept that there is no such a big problem in the nature as nowadays we experience.
Yeah, which means that the more we are understanding about dharma, the more we are doing things in accordance with what is recommended in the Shastra, then that will actually reduce calamities and favor our cultivation ultimately of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, because as Prabhupada would say, it's only when one has a peaceful mind, if one is in situations which constantly make it difficult. Let's say people who are like poor, who have to work constantly and who have no time, which is well, in many ways the situation. Then they are overly focused or preoccupied with meeting their immediate material or physical needs, and it's more difficult.
I remember there was a quote from Srila Prabhupada that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj always put in debt the temples to make temple devotees go out and preach.
Right.
So he took the money and made some kind of calamity for temple devotees. So he used this method for inspiring lazy devotees.
Yeah. He made, I think one of the many instructions or statements was that whatever money you collect on a particular day, on that day you spend all the money, so that the next day you have to again.
Yeah. Prabhupada also took a lot of money from temples and made them difficult to continue. Because he took it for Mayapur, for building, for books.
Yeah.
Like he was also very seriously this
Similar
pressure.
technique. You wanted to mention?
Maharaj, the word is used here, Vipadaha Santuta Shashvat, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. So she's addressing Krishna as Guru.
As Guru?
I mean, Jagat Guru.
Yeah, correct.
As a teacher, I mean, Prabhupada, of course, is not translated like that. He just translated as Krishna. So, but Kunti Maharani is specifically saying that that Vipadaha Santuta Shashvat Tattara Tattara Jagat Guru means the calamities and being a guru or a teacher, Jagat Guru. Is it in way connected? Bhavataha Bhavato Darshanam Yatsya. By that process you can get your darshan.
So, what is the point you're making about Jagat Guru?
Because it's not just what do you call it, seeing him, because Krishna is, Kunti Maharani is addressing him as Guru, Jagat Guru. So it's just not only calamities, but also something to do with teaching, because otherwise why is she coming up with the word Guru?
But here, Prabhupada translates
and
as
another word here she's used is called Shashwat. Shashwat, in one sense, in Prabhupada is translated repeatedly. Shashwat also means something which is eternal. Krishna is being addressed as Shashvat later on in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, good point. Prabhupada just say you, but I think that the you is a big you, it's Jagat Guru you. So Kunti Devi sees Krishna as a position, in the position of Jagat Guru, being a Jagat Guru. It's also important because some other places Kunti expressing that she sees Krishna as a relative, but no, here is, I think,
Right.
she sees as a Jagat Guru, means protector, everyone.
Yes. Yes. Lord of the universe. So it means ultimately he is in a position to actually give protection because he controls everything. He's the Lord of the universe.
Yeah, but sometimes not visible when Krishna is just acting like a human being.
Right.
So, but Kunti Devi is conscious that when Krishna is there, not just a friend or a relative, but he's bringing his whole potency of being a protector and being a solution, giving a solution also.
Yes. Yes.
That's why she's mentioning that so many calamities we could avoid the danger because you appear, because you wanted that problems to be solved. Any
Right.
other persons couldn't.
Yes.
You protected us, so that's very special. You.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam. Again, the word Shashvat. There it is eternal. She's praying here, Vipada Santuta Shashvat.
Yes.
So let these Vipada come. Shashvat. Shashvat means again something like permanent or eternal. Of course, Prabhupada is giving us translations repeated.
Yes. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Sri Prabhupada ki Gaur Premanand.